What's going on, gamer? Today we're gonna talk about a potential Going Commando Reimagining and what that would be like, how the story would be, how it would continue after the 2016 game. Let's talk about that in the gameplay and, you know, things that it could be like. So let's talk about that today. If you have not seen the last video I did, right up there, click on that. Also linked below. Also probably suggested on the side or below, probably. I talk about why I'm so sure a new Ratchet and Clank game is totally coming, what the game will probably be, and when it'll be announced and released, most likely. If you haven't seen that, go watch that. And thank you to everybody that did. Oh my god. Oh my god. I'm so happy it reached so many people, and so many people got to watch that and learn so much information that I have accumulated over this past, while. So, and the support, oh my god, it became my third most popular video in less than a week, which is unbelievable, and I'm so happy that it reached so many people. So thank you. Please go watch that. If you're watching this, you will want to see that. So in that video, I talk about what the game will probably be. Either a post-Nexus game, which focuses on continuing the storyline of the Ratchet and Clank franchise, which that storyline ended 6 years ago when Into the Nexus came out, or a Going Commando Reimagining, continuing the Reimagining thing, and then they would probably do Up Your Arsenal Reimagining, which would be really cool. And then, I've actually come up with a third potential option, which I kind of touched on in that video, but dismissed really quickly, but I want to talk about it a little more today. So we're going to focus on these last two, ignoring the post-Nexus scenario for now. I think I'm going to come back and do another video on that and really soon. So please subscribe, please do that so I know that you want to see that, and like this video so I know, comment, that's the easiest way to let me know. But the third potential option is just a 2016 game sequel, just a sequel to that game that's not Going Commando. I touched on it and I dismissed it because I thought it wouldn't happen. It's like weird, but the more I think about it, the more likely I think it could happen if they decide to continue that and not do a post-Nexus thing, which again I am kind of leaning towards that actually happening because that's what I want, and that's just kind of what it seems like, to be honest. But again, I'll do another video on that. Let me know if that's what you want to see. So first of all, let's discuss this very interesting point that my friend Christian suggested to me the other day when I talked to him for ideas about this video. Shout out to him. Watch our Resident Evil 5 Let's Play. It's the first thing I ever did on this channel, but it has a special place in my heart. So he brought up a very interesting point that I had not thought of. I'm going to try to explain it a little better than he explained it to me. So basically what he was trying to tell me, going back to a point that I made in that last video, is that there's not a movie tie-in for the next Ratchet and Clank game, no matter what it is. There's no movie holding it back. So the point I made in that video was that since there's no movie, the game doesn't have to be so kid-friendly, because the movie was targeted at a young audience, and the game was a tie-in to the movie, so that means the game had to be targeted at a younger audience as well. So since there's no movie, they don't have to target a young audience, although they might still, because that's kind of the audience they started now, but I don't think it was very successful in doing so, so I don't think they will. And they got a lot of backlash for it. I'm pretty sure they know that, so I hope it's not going to be like that. And again, as I said in that video, crack and time is their standard for storytelling, as they tell us. They've told me personally that crack and time is like what they want to achieve, so if we're talking about that, I don't think it's going to be super kiddie. But that's besides the point. So that's the point I made about there not being a movie tie-in. But he made a different point, which I didn't think about. So the movie is based on the 2002 game, right? Now, obviously, those are two very different stories. The only similarity is Drek and what he wanted to achieve, basically. Everything else is basically, like, completely different. That's because it's a movie, and you know how video game movies go, and just movie adaptations for anything go, really. They change it. They have to change it to adapt to a movie. They change things. And the game was based on the movie. So that means the game had to be different because the movie was different. So since there's no movie tie-in with the next Ratchet and Clank game, let's say it's a Going Commando, because that's what this video is about. There's no Going Commando movie. That's a funny sentence, because it's going. Anyways, I'd like to see a Going Commando movie, if you know what I mean. So there's no Going Commando movie, so a Going Commando Reimagining doesn't have to be so different. So a Going Commando Reimagining could be a lot closer to the actual original Going Commando. However, it won't be the exact same thing, because it can't, and we'll talk about that. So going back to that third option where it's just a 2016 game sequel, and it's not Going Commando at all, that's kind of possible. I could see them doing that if they really want to continue what they started, because it was so successful. Maybe they just want to do that, and then they don't have to follow Going Commando, because it doesn't really fit that way. If it would be so close to the original because there's no movie, but it can't be the exact same thing again. So it probably won't be a sequel, but it could. But also, there's a lot of buts here. But if you remember, in a hoverboard race, in the first hoverboard race in the 2016 game, the announcer actually mentions the Protopet. So it does exist in this universe. So that could be a hint that they're gonna do a Going Commando Reimagining. But I think it's really just more of an Easter egg, since that game is all about just kind of having everything of all the games kind of in one game, the best things of, and I think it's more of an Easter egg than anything, but it totally could be. So if anything, we know they exist, so they might as well just take that route. So the reason it can't just be Going Commando, like remade, and it has to be a reimagining at some degree, is mostly because of how the games transition over, how the first original game ends and Going Commando starts, and how the 2016 game ended. It's not the same way. It won't make sense. Oh, by the way, spoiler alert. So how did the 2016 game end? Well, Quark was in prison. Now a thing to note about this game is that, again, as I said in the last video, go watch that video, Insomniac said that they could just say Quark is an unreliable source, he just made up the whole game. The whole story is false. However, what he told from prison. So the prison part has to be real, right? Because all of his storytelling was within prison. So like that's the only thing that has to be true, right? So the whole game aside, just the last cutscene where he's done telling the story and it's caught up with current events, he's talking to Shiv, his other inmate, who he's telling the story to. Shiv escapes in one of the police ships and runs off, and Ratchet and Clank is there, and they go after him. And they look at Quark, and he's like, "You coming?" He's like, "Absolutely." Okay, so keep that in mind. We'll come back to that. How does the 2002 game end? Well, they defeat Drek, and they just walk home. And then in the post-credits, you see Quark is selling personal hygienators from Gadgetron. And then how does Going Commando start? Well, they're like retired heroes now, and then suddenly they get transported to the Bogon Galaxy, and they're hired by Mr. Fidgewidget to get the Protopet back. And then throughout the game, you learn that Quark was arrested for selling the personal hygienators. So he's in prison, so that kind of lines up. But then he escapes prison in Going Commando. He escapes prison to continue selling them undercover, I believe. Like, is that how that works? I thought they were bad, so you would have thought they would have stopped selling them, but he just kept selling them in disguise, I guess? I don't really understand. But he keeps selling them to finance his whole game, his evil doings, and he becomes Mr. Fidgewidget, and the whole Protopet thing happens, and yeah. So you can see that doesn't exactly line up with how the 2016 game ended. The only similarity is that Quark is in prison. However, Ratchet and Clank turn to him, and he's like, "You coming?" He's like, "Yeah." So he's like, good. He's joining Ratchet and Clank. So it doesn't make sense that he would turn evil again after turning evil and then turning good and then turning evil again. That's kind of I could honestly see them doing that, to be totally honest. I don't know. I don't think they will. I wouldn't rule it out though. Maybe he catches up to Shiv and then he ends up joining him, and then together they do the Protopet thing. Or maybe Shiv is the villain. He gets away, and then Quark is with you, and he's a good guy the whole game. But how would that affect an Up Your Arsenal reimagining? I just thought about that just now. Because it seems like he's getting the arc that he does in Up Your Arsenal, where he, like, turns good. So in Up Your Arsenal, he runs away, gets his memory back, becomes a leader, then he quits, and then he comes back at the end to save the day. But if he already, like, hit rock bottom and then joins them again, I guess that could still happen depending on how the Going Commando Reimagining would end. It could still happen, I suppose. Maybe Shiv just gets away and becomes the villain by himself. So maybe Shiv just gets away and he is the villain of the game and somehow starts the Protopet thing. I don't know why he would. That seems kind of weird, but it could happen, because who would be the Protopet? Maybe it's just a new character? Like, who's going to be the Protopet mastermind? Maybe it's Angela? Maybe they make Angela bad. She's evil. She's actually evil in this game. That would be really interesting. But you see, it doesn't really exactly line up to be the exact same game. Like again, they did say reimagining Going Commando. Like it would be a reimagining. It wouldn't be a remake by any means. Here's another potential option I thought about. What if, since Ratchet and Clank are part of the Galactic Rangers, they just get a call from a different galaxy, the Bogon Galaxy, and they have to go do something about this protoped because Mr. Fidgewidget lost his secret project and they got to go get it back. Maybe that's just how it starts. Pretty similar. Again, the only issue is who's the mastermind villain? Is it still going to be Quark somehow? Is it going to be Shiv? Could it be Nefarious? Because Nefarious is a part of the like he's already a part of the franchise. He's not supposed to come in and fill up your arsenal, but they made him immediately, which I kind of hate, to be honest. I really hate how Sony just, because they love him so much and the fans love him so much. I love him too. But Sony was like, bring him back because people love him so much, so they just had to write him back in a random way. And it was, I personally think Nefarious should sit this game out, and then maybe he spends the whole game becoming getting all the things together for Up Your Arsenal. I could see that. Maybe he's like in the after credits somehow, being teased for the next game. But I think he should just not be in the game. I don't know why he would want to mess around with proto-pets. Because if there's any consistency between the original game and a reimagining of Going Commando, the original Going Commando that is, it should be the proto-pets, the Bogon Galaxy, and Megacorp. Those three things should be a constant. So as far as story and how the transition would work, that's about, everything that I have thought of. If you have any more ideas, anything to add, what you would like to see, let me know below. I even thought about if they just made Going Commando reimagined and it just started randomly and it just ignored the 2016 game and it was just a standalone Going Commando reimagining. That could happen, but it won't. So let me know if you would like to see any of those possibilities below, but we still have more to talk about. So since the game doesn't have a movie tie-in, it could be a lot closer. Again, it won't be exact, but it could be a lot closer, and it could be a lot longer. And something that I found out recently, I have heard this before, I just totally forgot about it, and I should have mentioned it in the last video. Maybe I'll add that in the description with my updates. Check the description, because I keep adding updates to that. But the 2016 game only took 10 months to make. I don't know if that includes the polish time, because I know they said in a live stream that they finished the game like months before, like 6 to 9? Not 6 to 9, 6 to 9 months. Madagascar 2. To polish the game because they had to wait for the movie to come out. So the movie delayed the game because it was done, but they just spent that time polishing it. So I don't think that those 10 months include the polish time. So Spider-Man has been out for over a year now, so they've had over 10 months to be working on this Ratchet and Clank game. Again, if you're worried about them not working on it because they're working on other stuff or something, again, watch the last video, I discussed that. So they've had at least over 10 months already to be making the next game. And again, as I said in the last video, go watch the last video, it'll probably be another year until the game comes out, roughly. So that's over twice as long they'll have to work on this game, which, is a pretty good sign that it could be much larger. So if it is a Going Commando reimagining, as we're discussing in this video, just focusing on that, not if it's a post-Nexus, which is what I really want to talk about, but we'll get to that later. They've had a lot more time to work on this, and again, it could be a lot closer. They could include all, or if not most, if not all, so they can include most, if not all, of the levels from Going Commando, because they've had so much time to work on it. However, if it does come out on PS5, maybe they have to work with that. Although it's the same architecture, so I don't think that really would set them back too much. So as far as levels, I think we could see most of them come back. Maybe even some new ones? Did they have any new ones in 2016? And again, as I said, Megacorp should be definitely in the game again. So Gadgetron is featured promptly throughout the series. Grummelnet is the one that's in the Future Saga. But Megacorp is only mentioned in Going Commando. That's the only game. And they had some really good weapons in that game. Here's a weird something I noticed in the first take. This is the second take I'm doing. Something I noticed is that they did actually have a Megacorp weapon in the 2016 game, which was all Gadgetron. That was the Bouncer. However, the Bouncer was only a pre-order weapon, so it technically wasn't from Gadgetron, I don't think, right? And then there was weapons from Grummelnet in there too, so how does that even work? I mean, they wouldn't go as far as reimagining the Future Saga anyways, the PS3 title, so I guess it doesn't matter, but so I guess they can just say some Grummelnet weapons are Megacorp or Gadgetron. But if they're going to be doing a Going Commando reimagining, they gotta have Megacorp back. Like, I really want them new because they had some great weapons. Technically, the Sheepinator was introduced in this one too, but it doesn't matter. They technically used the one from All for One. But like the Seeker Gun, the Shield Chargers introduced, the Thin Synthnoids, which is just Zircon. The Plasma Coil is amazing. I mean, okay, those are probably really just the best ones. And then the Zodiac, of course. Oh, and the mini turret was introduced in this one, which is... So, it's like, see, I would love to see some of those weapons again. And again, as I mentioned in the last video, again, Insomniac did say specifically when I asked them what did they learn, they said that they learned that people want new weapons, and they got a lot of backlash for having only one new weapon, and all of them were reused. So I think we can definitely expect to see new weapons. So maybe there'll be some Megacorp weapons, like maybe just like those top ones that I mentioned. But I think that we would expect the rest to be new anyway. So I don't think that having Megacorp really even matters that much, because there would probably just be new weapons anyways. But again, they'll probably have some returning ones, and I just hope that they're Megacorp. I hope they're not Gadgetron, because that would really be weird. I mean, they can do whatever they want because it's a totally new, storyline. It follows the other games not at all. So technically, the Bouncer is a Gadgetron weapon now. I guess it technically can be, and it is, I guess. But aside from weapons, let's talk about like the space combat missions, the infamous space combat missions. I believe they've acknowledged how bad they are. At least I've seen so much backlash about them. I personally don't think they're terrible. I just hate the ring flying missions to get that stupid platinum titanium bolt, whatever it is. But I don't know. How do you think we could see the space combat revamped in a reimagining? Would it be like Crack in Time? But that was more focused on exploration. But hey, maybe it'll be like little mini hub worlds where you can go explore some moons, and then there's like one planet there maybe or something. Some little side missions, just a little like mini open world section with space. That would be really cool idea. You know what I'm talking about? You kind of get what I'm saying? It would be like the different solar systems from a Crack in Time with the moons, but instead of there wouldn't be planets there. It would just be like some space combat thing maybe that you would have to do for the story. And then there's just also moons for side stuff. That would be really cool. It might be like how it was in the 2016 game where there was that one flying section in Metropolis, not Lero City. It's Metropolis. There was that one flying section. I didn't like that very much. I felt like the camera was too close to the ship. The ship just felt like huge, and I didn't like the way it controlled it. It just felt really weird. I hope they don't do it like that, but they might, to keep it more in tune with how it actually was in Going Commando. So then there's also the hover bike races. Like the hoverboard races would probably be just upscaled. I think they would actually change the hover bike races a little bit, like the maps, the courses. I feel like they would change that a little bit. It seems a little outdated just because they're bigger and larger and there's more to it than the hoverboard races from the first game. It was pretty simple, short loop. But the hover bike ones were a lot faster and just longer and bigger. And I don't know, I feel like they could be improved a little bit, but maybe not. Who knows? So and also, could we consider seeing maybe Raritanium come back for Going Commando? I mean, they did it with 2016, so might as well, right? That'd be kind of cool. I almost want to say Going Commando is my favorite of the trilogy, the original trilogy. I don't want to admit that, though. I also don't want to admit that it's up your arsenal. If you could level your weapons up more than just once in Going Commando, it probably would be. That's really just the one thing I really hate about it. But if it's a reimagining, obviously that will be the case. But the weapons will probably be a lot different, because they said they're going to, they know people don't like old weapons. They want to see new ones. Because that's, like, the main point of the game is the weapons. I don't want to see weapons from 10 years ago. Like, it's cool, but you gotta have more new one, like a 50-50 at least, 50 new, 50 old at least, percent, not total. That's a lot. Do that many. That would be awesome. The game has to be way longer though. So yeah, those are my thoughts on a Going Commando Reimagining. Please like, subscribe, share this video. Please subscribe because I want to talk about post-Nexus next in a future video. I'm going on a trip tomorrow. I'm leaving, and when I come back, I'm gonna record my Halloween video, which I'm really excited to put up. So please subscribe so you don't miss that one. I'm really excited. I'm so excited for that one. I've been looking forward to it for a couple months. And then after I record and edit that'll be my priority to make sure I get it out on time. And then we'll work on a post-Nexus video. We'll get that up pretty soon. Hopefully before Halloween, but it might be shortly after. And then I also have another Ratchet video planned just a few days after Halloween as well, if I can get that up on time, I hope. Probably have to record that soon. But yeah, I'm so over the moon with how well that the last video did. I cannot express my gratitude for everyone that watched that and spent the time watching it. Thank you so much. It was so well. I was like, well, I gotta keep doing this, I guess. I don't think this one will do nearly as well, but I mean, I hope it'll do okay, right? So if you like this and you would like to see more of this, I have much more to share. I have much more to share about a post-Nexus game, and I'm really more excited to talk about that. Another reason I'm not doing it yet is because I haven't played it since it came out into the Nexus, and I'll be playing it this month after this trip I come back from, so I'll be totally refreshed and ready to do a video about it. Not like I need to specifically know into the Nexus, but it'd just be nice to be refreshed on where we are at. So expect that soon. Again, subscribe, like, hit the bell so you don't miss it. Comment below. What did you want to see? What do you want to see? What do you think, Going Commando? Do you think it's possible? What would you like to see out of it? Do you agree with what I said? Do you disagree? I want to know your thoughts. I want to talk about it. Tell me below. Also, follow me on Twitter. Follow me on Instagram. Follow me on Reddit, too, I guess. Just follow the Ratchet and Clank subreddit. I'm on there all the time. Oh, and you know, real quick, I was going to end the video, but real quick, I'm actually really disappointed I didn't mention this in the last video. Speaking of the Ratchet and Clank subreddit, I recently made a post about Craig Goodman, who had just passed away. That was yesterday, as the time I'm recording this. Craig Goodman is an Insomniac, longtime Insomniac. He has worked on Ratchet and Clank since the very beginning. He was an artist, and he helped make Ratchet, and probably I don't know. He was an artist, so he helped make Ratchet the character that you love today. And he just passed away from brain cancer just yesterday. He's been fighting it for several years. I said several, but I think it was actually like 7 years. But I'll leave below their page for their GoFundMe page for all their expenses and everything. He had, I think, 2 kids and a wife, so yeah, rough stuff. It's because of him that this video exists right now and that you're even watching this, so please consider taking the time to check out his GoFundMe page for his family. So anyways, that does it for this video. Thank you all so much for your time. Again, subscribe. Let me know what you would want to see next. If you like this, I'm really loving doing these, so let me know. Yeah, please. Thank you all so much for your time. I'll see you soon. Peace.